Let's bring in the Department of Education's spokesperson in Gauteng, Steve Mabona, joining us now via our video link. Steve, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. I know, of course, you two are trying to piece together what might have happened. Perhaps you can let us in on how you found out about this tragedy.
Good morning to all our viewers. We received this information this morning, just an hour ago actually, that our learners perished on the road. And MEC decided to go to the scene because he was in El Dorado Park talking about matters of school violence and trying to quell that. As you know, that area is problematic. So he had to leave and rush to the scene. The preliminary report indicates that there's about 11 learners who died at the scene, and 5 were then transported to medical facilities. We will then get more information later as far as the schools that are involved, the ages and the grades of those learners.
Yeah, it's a devastating way, as I was saying to our reporter, to start the first full week of schooling in 2026. It sets a very difficult tone, I imagine, even for the department.
No, definitely. It's quite devastating. As you know, we have been struggling with the online admissions in terms of placements. Focus was there and making sure that we avail infrastructure for our children. But now this is diverting us now to focus on this, and it's quite sad indeed.
Right. Of course, there's also been a lot of work that had been done, Steve, to try raise awareness about safety, especially involving scholar transport. I understand about a week ago there was a campaign led by the Minister of Transport in Barbara Creasy, trying to highlight the issue itself. Sadly, once again in Gauteng, we have to deal with a scenario where questions, I imagine, will be raised about the caliber of drivers that scholar transporters are using and whether or not parents can trust that their children are safe when they're being ferried to school using this mode of transport.
It's quite sad indeed, because definitely we want lesser number of children to be transported. Hence, we are improving our schools, making sure that if parents are saying they want English, introduce it in the areas where they stay. If they seek other activities, we try to introduce, and curriculum improve, performance of our schools, because we really don't want a lot of learners being transported from, to schools. So we are working with the stakeholders to make sure that those that are ferried, they conform to the rules of the road, the requirements, cars, they go through necessary, inspections, working very closely with the Department of Transport in Gauteng, because the private scholar transport, Department of Public Transport, they have a responsibility to make sure that all those that are transporting our children, their cars, conform to the rules, as it were.
Incidentally, Steve, as you and I are speaking, the South African Human Rights Commission is just about to release their findings after an investigation that they went into in the Northwest, specifically looking at safety in scholar transport. They had received complaints, I understand, from parents who are worried about the conditions under which their children are being ferried. This, of course, is outside of your jurisdiction in Gauteng, but I do wonder, Steve, whether it's time to start having that conversation. I mean, for one, would the department be open to that kind of investigation in Gauteng?
Definitely. Remember, we work with all the Chapter 9 institutions, and they, just decide on any monitoring that they want to conduct. And through the correspondence, we will then avail our institutions, we avail our processes. You know that now there's the concern about the online admissions. There are those that will say, why are we insisting on continuing with it? But if you come closer to us and seek evidence, information that will assist you to make informed decisions, you will see that actually it's a good thing. But when you operate from far, it becomes a challenge because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to be pronouncing things that you are not supposed to be pronouncing because you're not informed. And that's why I would normally encourage the members of parliament, members of legislatures, when they do their oversight as well, they need to make sure that they understand on what they are doing on in terms of their oversight, get documentation and go through what we are doing, unlike maybe pronouncing, ill-informed, pronouncement that will be coming from them. So we are open to anything. Any Chapter 9 institution or NGOs that we work very closely with, they are allowed to come closer to us so that we empower them with information, because that's the easiest to do, empower with information, so that when they pronounce, they're informed, unlike saying no, they must not come closer, and they will be making pronouncements which are ill-informed.
All right, Steve Mabona, thanks very much indeed. I know, of course, you're also getting information as we speak about what might have taken place in Vanderbijlpark, so I imagine we'll catch up with you later on as we try to bring more details to our viewer. For now, Steve Mabona, the Gauteng Education Department spokesperson, we appreciate the time.